It's always lovely to host you every Wednesday of the month. Greetings, leaders from the African continent and across the world. Welcome to yet another live session. My name is Maud Nale, the communications lead at Digital Earth Africa, and we're very excited to be hosting you today on a topic about Digital Earth Africa Sandbox upgrade image. At this point, I'm going to call upon our presenter. She's no stranger here at Digital Earth Africa, and there have been some amendments or adjustments since you last saw her. I always introduced her as being from Cartoza, but she is now officially a colleague. In fact, she is one of the Earth observation data scientists here at Digital Earth Africa, and she is going to be taking us through a demo of the updates to the Jupyter notebooks and Python scripts due to changes to the sandbox image last month. Please join me in welcoming onto the virtual stage with a topic on sandbox upgrade image, Victoria Neema. Victoria, the virtual stage is yours. Over to you.
Thank you, Maud. I will now just share my screen so we can start off. I hope everyone can see my screen. I'll just turn off my video for the moment and put it back on at the end. So last month, we upgraded the analysis sandbox, and we upgraded a few of the packages. In the info page that we have listed a few of the most commonly used packages in the sandbox, and the updates we did. So you can see what the previous version of the sandbox used to have, which versions for the packages, and now we have these new versions that you can see in the info page or on screen at the moment. If you would like to view a more detailed list of all the packages that were changed in the analysis sandbox, you can visit the link we've provided that gives the release notes to the sandbox image. I will be demonstrating in various notebooks how these changes will affect users, and what errors you could encounter as you make the changes to notebooks that you have developed on the sandbox, and what to do to correct those if you encounter these errors. So starting off, I will start with the changes that were due to the upgrade to the XRA package. And for this demonstration, I'll be using the radar water detection notebook. Let me just start the kernel. Then I'll just run through so we can produce the actual error when using the old version of the notebook, and you can be able to see what change we made. The first change is located in the point where we are applying the speckle filter. Previously, we used to use XArray functions such as there is finite or is infinite or the log10 function. Those are the most commonly used in the notebooks. And we applied them to XArray datasets or XArray data arrays. So for example here, we are trying to get the valid dataset from the loaded Sentinel-1 dataset. Now, if you run this using what was previously used in older versions of the notebooks, you will encounter this error, attribute error. Module XArray has no attributes ufunc. The ufuncs are no longer available in the new version of the XArray package. So instead of using XArray ufuncs, you can simply use the NumPy version of the function that you would like. So for example, we have here the XArray ufunc is finite has been replaced with the NumPy is finite, and this works the same way, and you're able to, oh, sorry, didn't run that. You are able to run this cell comfortably, and it works, and you're able to plot the result in Excel. Another demonstration of the same is here we were using the is finite function. In the converting to digital numbers, we were using previously the X-ray ufuncs log10 function. So again, if you run it with this old version of the code, you will get this attribute error. Just change, the solution is just changed to the NumPy version of the same, and you will get that it works correctly. As you can see in the next cell, we are able to plot our data correctly. Keep in mind, as you work on notebooks that you have, if you do encounter such an error code, you can try changing to a NumPy equivalent function and see if it works for you. Next up, we'll be talking about the change to the select method for the X-array. And for this, I will be using the high resolution population density maps dataset notebook. I'm just showing where it's located. You can see it's in the dataset folder, just to demonstrate how these changes will affect you, the users. We'll just go through loading the packages and up to loading the data set using XR Open Stereo. Actually, it's the rear X-array Open Stereo, sorry. And the old method is that we were able to use the dot cell method by passing what you'd call a tuple with to select which range of coordinates that we would like. So in this example, we are selecting the X and from the X and Y dimensions, our specific minimum and maximum for the X and the Y. And when you try to run this, you'll get quite a long error message, but at the end, you will get this value error setting an array element with a sequence. If you do encounter this error in your notebooks when using just trying to index or slice your array, try changing the tuple into a list. You can use this method of passing the individual object into a list, or you can just say just use the list function to do that. That's one alternative you can use, or you can go with the slice method, which is what is used in the version, the regular version of this notebook. So you can just pass this in there, and it takes a minute to compute. And you'll be able to see that we have been able to select our data and we're able to properly plot it. So if you do encounter such an error in your notebooks, try the two alternatives and see if that solves your problem. For all the notebooks, the Jupyter notebooks and Python scripts that we regularly host in the analysis sandbox, so all these in these folders, they have been updated to work with these new versions of the code in order to be able to work with the new version of the packages in the analysis sandbox. Next up, we are going to see the changes due to the matplot update to the matplotlib package. Again, just a reminder, we have documented a lot of these changes in the DAfrica info page. So for future reference, you can visit the info page or view the recording of this session to be able to refresh yourself on the changes that have been made if you encounter any problems in your notebooks or scripts. Next up is changes to the matplotlib package. So for this demonstration on how the changes affect notebooks in the sandbox, we are going to use the NDVI anomaly notebook. This is located in the datasets folder also. I'm just going to start the kernel, then start from the top, just running the cells. We're going to start off here where we're trying to define a custom color map to use to plot our X-array data array. If you in the old version of this notebook, you will see that we are using this method where we get the matplotlib color map get cmap function. In this case, when you try to run it currently, you will get this warning message. It has been deprecated, and you'll still be able to plot your data, but you will have this constant warning message. In the new version of the notebooks, we have updated it as recommended in the matplotlib documentation to use this method where you get the matplotlib color maps. If you run this again, and you see we get no warning message, and when we try to plot using our custom color map that we've defined, we are just run it again. We are able to plot our data array comfortably. You still get the same color map, it's just the change in how you define it from matplotlib. Next up is how the IamShow method changed for when you're trying to plot your X-ray data arrays. I'm using matplotlib. For this, I will use the chlorophyll monitoring notebook to demonstrate the change. This is located in the real-world examples dataset. I had previously run this notebook. So as you can see, in the older version of the notebook, you used to be able to simply plot your data array and pass your X and Y dimensions without using the keyword method, as you can see here in CMap NPM, just pass the X and Y dimensions. But in this current case, currently you get quite a large error message, but at the bottom you will see sort of this message where got an unexpected keyword argument message. To resolve this, you will need to specify your X and your Y using the keyword similar to how all the other attributes are passed, as like the CMAP, the vmean, vmax, and the callref. And this now works comfortably. As you can see, we are able to plot our data correctly. So if you do encounter this in your notebooks, one of the just as a process of elimination to see where the error is, you can just try to pass your X and Y as keyword arguments and see if that works for you. Next up is updates due to the updating the Shapely package. Now, in this case, the change happened in the DE Africa Tools spatial module, but I will try and demonstrate it in a notebook so we can be able to see clearly how it affects future use in the analysis sandbox. I'll start off by loading the Shapely and the GeoPandas package and defining a multipoint. So this change affects multipoints, multi-polygons, and multi-line line string. Previously, we used to be able to iterate over them as a list, like in the next cell. So once we defined our multipoint, we try to pass it to the geometry to get your geodata frame. But you will now get this error where you get type error, multipoint object is not iterable. If you're using a multi-polygon, it will say multi-polygon object is not iterable. If you're using a multi-line string, you will find that it says a multi-line string object is not iterable. One solution for this that has been recommended is to use to create a list from the geoms of your multi-point, your multi-polygon, or your multi-line string. So in this case, once we instead of using the previous method, we just pass the geoms, the multi-point geoms to a list, and you're able to create your geodata frame. Now we're moving on from breaking changes to changes that we've just implemented during that sandbox image upgrade. We archived the ESA world cover product, and we now have the ESA world cover 2020 for the 2020 ESA world cover product, and we have the ESA world cover 2021 for the ESA world cover product for the year 2021. Now, previously, just run this again, so you're able to see. It's taking a bit of time, but okay, it's loading the data, just running the few cells before. Until we get to the point where we load the data. So as it loads, I'll just explain what's happening. So in the current version of the notebooks, if you would like to use the ESA World Cover 2020 for 2020, you'll need to load the ESA World Cover 2020 product. You do not need to specify the time because it's just for the year 2020. You can't specify the time if you would like. Then if you would like for the 2021 product, you would need to change this to ESA World Cover 2021. If you try to load the product using ESA World Cover as was previously being used, you will get an empty dataset. Keep this in mind when you're using the ESA World Cover for your various notebooks. This has also been changed in all other notebooks in the hosted on the sandbox that use the ESA World Cover. Next up is for the soil moisture. Now, previously we used to have to define the function in the notebook or every time you would like to use it in whichever notebook you were using it in. But now we have moved the load soil moisture function into the DE Africa tool. So now you just have to import it and use it comfortably. As you can see here in the soil moisture dataset notebook, just note from the Africa tool, the load soil moisture module, you import the load soil moisture function, then you can just comfortably use it in any of the notebooks that you have. Finally, we will talk about the changes to notebooks when using the resample method. This happens in the use case. So this was noted in the vegetation use case. So that's the vegetation phenology notebook in the Lake Baringo grazing use case folder. Now, I won't run through this again because it takes quite a bit of time to load, but I previously run it. And you can see that when you try to use this L offset in which you change the labels for the time dimension of your data set or your data array, you will get this error following pandas. The L offset parameter will be removed in a future version of Xarray. This currently works and still works in the notebooks, but if we do upgrade Xarray, it will no longer be available. So in the meantime, we do recommend that you change from this method to updating the time coordinates using a function or by using the assign coords method. So in this case, we changed the time we wanted to offset the time coordinates by 1 week. So we changed the wedge smooth time coordinates by just adding 1 week using the numpy time delta 64 method and adding it to the time coordinates, and then assigning the coordinates back to the wedge smooth dataset. There are different ways you can do this. This is not the only method. You can find and just update how you use the L offset method. So that's it for now for the large changes that have come up during the upgrade to the sandbox image. If you encounter any errors in the notebooks or you'd like some help, feel free to visit the help desk and file a ticket. We'll be happy to help you. And if there's an issue, that unresolvable issue with the notebooks, you can also file an issue on the Africa Sandbox repository issues section. That's it from my end. Back to you, Maud.
Thank you very much, Victoria, for that presentation. These are some of the changes that were made to the 2 notebooks that Victoria spoke about. Victoria, maybe a question. Is there a way to receive a link to this particular notebook or changes? Does one have to be in the sandbox? If you could maybe just guide us on how that will work.
If you're in the sandbox, there is the Africa info page that opens every time you start up your sandbox. You can find the changes listed or discussed there. The info page is also available on the GitHub Africa Sandbox repository, so you can also see the changes listed there.
Questions or comments for Victoria at this point? Sharing your screen at this point. Are there any questions or comments for Victoria with regards to today's presentation or with regards to any of the updates to that notebook and the Python script that she showed us? I'll take the silence to mean no, and I hope that you have found the updates to be useful. We always have special guests, our partners who attend these live sessions, our user community, and we love to give them the opportunity to introduce themselves to the Logic community. So at this point, I'm going to call upon the Capacity Development Lead, Dr. Kenneth Mubia, if he could help us with the introductions of all the leaders who are here with us today. Ken, the stage is yours.
Thank you so much, Director of Ceremonies. Thank you for the opportunity. Welcome, everybody. Today's session was quite informative, just recognizing our partners from different parts of the continent, and our recent colleague, James Mbogo from Kodio, Semo in Mombasa. Please, it's a chance to greet the participants, sir.
So Thanks, Ken. I don't know whether I came in late or it was just on time. So, yeah, so I'm James Mbogwa. Based in Mombasa, Kenya, and I've interacted with Ken before, and I've been having a lot of interest with the Digital Earth Africa products. Yeah, it's been a pleasure. I'm quite new to this platform, and I hope I learn more as we move along. And I have my interest so much is on the coastal erosion products, because I'm undertaking a study on coastal erosion. And I think, I feel the Digital Earth Africa platform will be the best place to be. So it's still very initial stages, and I'm still learning. So looking forward to interact with you more. I'm now part of the team. I've joined your WhatsApp group, and I'm sure I'll be getting the latest updates. So bear with me if I ask questions that might take you back in time. So thank you to meet you on, and looking forward to match this forward. Thank you, Ken.
Thank you so much, James. And also, James owes you a snorkeling class. I know that could be complimentary to look at the mangroves, courtesy of the work they do supporting the Kenya Fisheries and Ministries and Department. Crossing over to the next country, I wish to recognize my colleague Liban, based in Mogadishu, Somalia. The other side of the continent, I wish to recognize Yajemi.
Oh, good morning, everybody. Good morning, Ken. Yeah, my name is Yajemi from Afrigis. It's located in Nigeria. Okay. It's located in Nigeria, and Afrigis is in capability building. I'm a lecturer in GIS department. So in Digital Earth Africa, we have a team here of Digital Africa that carry out the capability building. Let's say the capability building of Digital Earth Africa system. Thank you.
Tal, South Africa, Brighton. How is it going so far, sir?
Good afternoon. Oh, it's afternoon, yeah. All right. How are you today? It's this is my I think I've made some sessions before a few weeks back, but it's always interesting to be here. Particularly today, I'm interested in coding and using the notebooks. So today's session was very informative. All right, thank you. It was nice to be here.
Thank you so much, Brighton. And soon, with these skills, you're welcome to present some of your work in these sessions. And we'll be also here, happy to learn more about some of the work you're doing at the university as you finish your PhD. I think we'll be able to look at most of the participants, just recognizing the new ones like Gilbert Ponsa. I think he's in Ghana. Akwaba, Gilbert.
Yeah, it's nice to be on this platform, and I enjoy learning from Digital Earth Africa. And then I've seen my senior colleague, Edward. I was with him at the Center for Remote Sensing and GIS, and I'm so glad to be here.
Thank you.
To connect with our community of users, our partners, and our special guests. Thank you so much for always supporting these live sessions. We also want to encourage you to let your colleagues, your peers, people in your network know about these live sessions, especially if it's of interest and will benefit them. We will certainly look forward to hosting them here at one of our upcoming sessions. We always love to connect with our users, and I'm going to give us an opportunity to do just that. On the screen, you'll see the ways that you can connect with us. We are available on our website, which is www.digitalearthafrica.org. You can also send us an email, info@digitalearthafrica.org. And we're also on social media, Twitter, LinkedIn, as well as YouTube by the very same name, Digital Earth Africa. It's been an absolute honor hosting you yet again for another live session. We host these sessions every Wednesday, alternating between English and French. So if you loved today's session, I think we're going to have it next week, but in French. So please do share it with your networks and let us grow the Francophone community. We look forward to hosting you next week. As always, we love